When the Hudong shipyard's up-and-coming frigate was unveiled, why did the military fan circle boil over two disappearing radomes? The answer is hidden in the 054B frigate's sleek mast, the pair of bell shields and back-to-back plates that once defined the skyline of China's major ships have completely given way to the cold, sharp, double-sided rotating phased array radar. The double-sided rotating phased array radar. This silent decommissioning ceremony announced the end of an era, the introduction of the Russian top plate and music stand radar from the modern class destroyers, through the localization of the imitation of the 382 and 366. In the support of the Chinese fleet for 20 years, 1,000 Miles Eyes finally completed its historical mission. Back in the 1990s, China's introduction of Russia's modern class destroyers synchronized with the acquisition of the Mr. 710 top plate radar and Mineral Me music desk radar, the starting point for localized research and development. 382 radar was born. The Type 382 radar was born with a composite design of horizontal mechanical scanning and pitch frequency scanning, with a detection range of up to 300 kilometers, not only to undertake airborne surveillance but also to provide relay guidance for the Red Flag 16 missiles. The 366 type radar is more obvious. Metaphysics, the use of atmospheric waveguide effect in specific temperature and humidity conditions to achieve over-the-horizon detection, passive mode detection distance of up to 450 kilometers, to become a key barrier against ultra-low altitude surprise anti-ship missiles. These two radars quickly became China's ships' standard face, from 052B, C/D destroyer to 054 a frigate, and then to the Liaoning ship, Shandong ship aircraft carrier. 382 and 366 combination has become almost naval gray standard. But behind the glory, the technology generation gap is increasingly prominent. 382 radar can only track more than 20 targets, data refresh rate of a minimum of only 2.5 seconds, times, far inferior to the phased array radar millisecond response. 366 radar over-the-horizon capability is highly dependent on meteorological conditions. The actual effective detection time of only 80% minus 85%, the stability of the battlefield is in doubt. More fatal is that its copy of the prototype of the technical pitfalls have been exposed. Ukraine to the United States after the export of homologous, or ME, radar, the potential confrontation strategy may be cracked, the battlefield survivability plummeted. The radar replacement of the 054B is not a simple replacement, but a systematic upgrade. The S-band double-sided rotating phased array radar replaces the Type 382, achieving 360 degrees coverage by virtue of mechanical rotation, lighter in weight but higher in detection accuracy, and is especially good at catching sea-skimming targets. The Type 368, the rear mast of the 054B, has been replaced by the Type 382, which has been replaced by the Type 382. The Type 368 fast countermeasures radar on the rear mast integrates over-the-horizon detection and electronic countermeasures, and overcomes the dependence on atmospheric waveguide with active phased array technology, making the 366 radars, weather lottery, a thing of the past. More subtle is the tangential phased array antenna design, the sensor embedded in the sloping surface of the island of the ship, not only to enhance the stealth performance, but also to realize the multi-angle situational awareness, and completely get rid of the dependence on the traditional irradiation radar. The underlying support for this change is the explosive maturity of China's radar industry chain. Phased array core T or component localization rate of more than 90%. The cost of the same type of products, pressed to the US military 1/3, so that 054B in the 6,000-ton hull to achieve the shield ship. The application of all-electric propulsion system, more high-power consumption phased array radar provides a stable energy base. Diesel fuel combined power burst 33 megawatts of power, taking into account the quietness and efficiency of power supply, so that the 054B at 20 knots of speed underwater noise of only 110 decibels, and the sperm whale breathing comparable to the incarnation of the submarine hunter. Straight 20F shipboard helicopters on board the ship more deadly closed loop. It carries a phased array radar detection radius beyond the old 366 radar, and is not subject to meteorological constraints, and the ship's radar constitutes a three-dimensional detection network. The birth of 054B marks a fundamental shift in the strategic positioning of the Chinese Navy. The previous 054 frigate with a displacement of 4,000 tons to focus on coastal defense, often perform anti-piracy, escort and other miscellaneous tasks, and 054B to 5,600 tons displacement, and 5,000 nautical miles range, become China's first frigate designed for ocean warfare. Its core mission has been upgraded to the carrier formation of the Sword Guard 4054B, can control 400 square kilometers of sea. For the carrier to support the medium-range air defense and anti-submarine umbrella, this role change in the firepower configuration is reflected in the best 32 units of general-purpose vertical launch system compatible with the Red Flag 16 Fei air defense missiles and Eagle 21 hypersonic anti-ship missiles. Amidships quadruple Eagle 12 launchers to Mach 3.2 sprint speed to penetrate the enemy ship's armor, compared with the French Frem frigate Aster 30 missiles and Flying Fish anti-ship missiles. 054B firepower density and the ability to form a generation gap advantage. In actual combat drills, its 1,130 close-in defense gun has intercepted simulated anti-ship missiles 8 times. Tungsten alloy curtains were jokingly referred to as the South China Sea on New Year's Eve electronic fireworks by sailors. The breakthrough in radar technology is reshaping the rules of naval warfare. 54B's dual-band radar adopts an integrated design, with the S-band main radar and the X-band fast-reflecting radar sharing the same antenna array, which weighs half as much as the U.S. split design and has a lower failure rate. The U.S. Burke 3 destroyer was forced to use a castrated version of the dual-band radar due to lack of power, and the detection performance was significantly reduced. In April this year, Hainan Island exercises 054B radar in the U.S. EO-18G, Growler, electronic interference, but still locked 120 kilometers away from the B-2, a target aircraft, confirming its polarization reconfiguration technology can identify more than 95% of the deceptive interference. The false alarm rate down to 1/8 of the traditional equipment. A more far-reaching impact lies in the tactical revolution of radar as a weapon. The X-band radar can provide laser weapons 100 kilometers away with a pointing accuracy of 0.05 radians, which increases the interception success rate to 3 times that of the traditional close-in artillery. The 3-band common aperture radar of gallium oxide and diamond substrate material combination, the power will be increased by 300%, not only to achieve the stealth target detection distance increased by 40%, its technology spillover effect more benefits 6G communications and high-power laser field. Japan's military research magazine pointed out that China's energy consumption per unit of detection performance is only 60% of the US radar. Long-term deployment advantages. 54B radar replacement is not an isolated case, but a microcosm of the wave of Chinese naval equipment to copy Fujian ship carriers 32 phased array radar array to realize the S/X/C multiband fusion detection. 055B destroyer test and the 3-band radar can be in 400 kilometers away from the lock F-35 support for all of this, such as China Electrotechnical Science and Technology 14 teams, Star of the Sea Spirit, the chief expert Xing Ji. The chief expert Xing Wench had led the team to crack the sea clutter problem in 6 months, so that the waves of false targets have nothing to hide. Zhang Liang team research and development of 7th generation T/R components, so that the early warning aircraft radar weight halved and performance doubled. This transformation is not only a technological breakthrough, but also a strategic reconfiguration. When Ukraine will, or me, radar technology to the United States, China has foreseen the imitation equipment, technical transparency ceiling, from the Russian 76mm gun to the domestic 100mm gun, from the Card 28 helicopter to the Straight 20F, every subsystem of the 054B is echoing the same theme. The autonomy of the core technology is the only source of the initiative on the battlefield. The intriguing thing is that when the Navy to remove the equipment in the imitation gene, a national action called Guarding the Uniform, synchronized Fujian destroyed imitation camouflage uniforms, Honggang County to stop the ban to wear imitation uniforms performances. This is similar to the 054B choice. The removal of the Russian radome is not only to enhance the combat power, but also to completely cut off the chain of technical dependence, so that the Chinese warships to the pure Chinese wisdom, made to the deep blue,